are people who don't have gardens who would love one and are really keen to share a community space if that's possible. And Flo Headlam is making her second visit to the community garden in Potterne in Wiltshire, which is beginning to take shape.
It's been a month since Joe and I first visited the community garden here in Potterne. It's a typical village made up of a mix of properties big and small, a local pub, but nowhere just to hang out with your neighbours. Except for a wonderful secret garden hidden up that alley. When we first came here last month, there was an unloved plot with no real reason to spend any time here. But galvanised by local youth worker Steve Dewar, the people of the village wanted to transform this space into something they can all use. Last month, Joe worked with Steve to come up with the design to give a real heart to the garden. And having been involved with community projects before, I'm back here to offer support, advice and encouragement to help keep momentum going on this project. Oh, wow. So from the last time to now, you've got the path down, and it's great because you've got direction coming in and you've got the central space. The willow arch is looking good. It's coming back, isn't it? It's looking fresh. And then it leads to that central area, which is going to be the kind of main hub, isn't it? The kind of main social area.
So everything will then lead off that. So we're looking at 5 different sections, with each kind of area giving a slightly different thing to the
different
space.
activity. OK, great. Sounds like you've got some design skills yourself.
Well, it's just when people come together and just chat about it, and everyone's got a little bit of input and a thought, yeah, we would kind of go with what everyone agrees with.
What's the journey been like with the garden?
The biggest challenge is always people. The joys of working with people and different expectations, and everyone's got a view. Logistics probably is the second challenge because of the narrow access that we have and trying to move equipment through. Yeah, the path was the biggest logistical problem that we've had. Now that's been done. And I think thirdly is just communication. You can only communicate with people when you've made that contact. And so we're just looking at how actually we make that contact with people that we've not had contact with before across the village, but also the wider area, and then just maintain it.
It's tough. It's not easy.
Oh, you take some flack for it because people have different views. But it's the nature of the job that I'm in is actually I enjoy working with people to actually bring people together, to build a community, to face those challenges together. You know, if life was easy, it would be a bit boring. This isn't easy, and it's definitely not boring.
Well, there's no chance of getting bored when I'm around. There's planting to be done. One of the driving forces behind this community garden is teaching children about the local bugs and birds. So I brought along Stephen Davis from the local Wildlife Trust. Why is it important to have a wildlife area, do you think?
Well, it's absolutely wonderful for children in particular. They have a wonderful connection with the natural world. They're very, very observant. I mean, Will here has just found about 15 beetle larvae and he's wandering around like this, showing them to everybody. So there's a very natural interest in the natural world.
Mel, you're the head teacher at the local primary school. Why is it important for you to have wildlife areas?
Because it's bringing, isn't it, learning to life. So I think, you know, I'm not saying a library's not engaging, but Will up here learning about the real world in a real environment, he'll remember this a lot more, won't he, than reading it in print. And hopefully this will really excite him to go back to the library and to find out more. So it's a fantastic teaching space.
Yeah, absolutely. What's good to plant?
It's good to plant a diversity of plants, so some that have sort of very open, flat surfaces, so the nectaries are very close to the top of the flower. Some with, you know, long tubes. So you get a diversity of insects which have long tongues, small tongues, and they can reach down and get that nectar. And in doing that, they interact with the pollen and they take the pollen away to another flower and provide that fertilisation of the flower.
Stephen's recommended lots of plants that pollinators love, and I can't help but get involved. This is my favourite bit. It'd be nice to have the Becca sort of curving around.
So
So I'm so happy that the local gardening club have popped in. Spades at the ready. We've got loads of plants here, loads of plants, and I think once we've got everything in place and we've got a sense of where we're going to plant everything, it's going to look fantastic. We've got instant colour. We've got the beautiful Verbena bonariensis. We've got the lovely Rebecca. That colour is just stunning. It's exciting because it's looking like a garden now.
Isn't it great to see the kids getting all mucky in the garden? While Steve starts planting up a more shady spot, some other children are getting into building bug hotels.
Right, guys, we just want to use as many different materials as we can because it will just attract as many insects as possible into our gardens.
I don't mind it, but I just moving around.
This is what Steve had in mind when we first talked about this community garden, is bringing people together. And that's happened here today. We've got kids out here who've been digging, lifting soil, lifting turf. They've been making bug hotels, who've had the gardening club, another generation who've come to help out and to lend their expertise. And mums, you know, and their kids sitting around, people are just hanging out, but enjoying the space. It just fills me with pleasure to see them here and being involved.